up north, finally leaving my mother's house and going up to the 100-acre property. We're going to call this property the 100-acre plantation because it used to be a tree plantation before I bought it. So we're going up to the 100-acre plantation. When I get up there, there's going to be a lot of work to do, and I'm going to try to set you guys up, but I got my mom in tow. Her car is completely full. My car is completely, absolutely packed with everything for the canvas tent and everything I'm going to need for the next month, because when I get up there, I'm at least spending the next month up there before I'm going to even leave the property once. Got to get the road ready so they can deliver the cabin, and got to cut a trail out to the river so I can get water, and got to get this all done in the next 2 days. But when I get there, you know, I'll try to pull you guys out to show you the first look at the property when we get there, but I'm gonna have to set up the canvas tent and drag all this stuff out there, and that's gonna be a lot of work. So I don't know, you guys have seen me set up the canvas tent 100 times now, so I might, you know, just set up the tent so I can get everything out of the cars and into it. So I'll see you guys in 3.5 hours, about 200 miles north of Portland, Maine, up at the 100-acre plantation. Can't wait. I'm super excited. I've been waiting to get up here. This whole year I've been waiting. I've had this property now for like 6 months and I haven't even seen it yet. So we'll talk more about that when I get up there and explain how I went about getting this property and everything. Oh man. Last stretch of road, this bridge that's coming up is the corner of my property. The border of my property is this brook right here. I'm so excited. I still haven't seen this property. I never recommend buying a property you haven't seen, but this property came up for sale when I was in California, and it bordered all this wildlife management area, so I had to move on it before I could even see it. It still has real estate signs on it, so I gotta get those signs off. Oh man. Well, there's the road in. It's got a little water in it. You're not gonna be able to pass it with the car without doing some work. Here we are on the property. Saw some moose tracks coming in here. There must be some game out here. It's a big property, 100 acres. Man, the road is definitely more messed up than I was hoping it was going to be. It's going to be pretty hard getting the cabin out here in a couple weeks. Hopefully it'll dry out. Hopefully it'll dry out a bit. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work setting this up, so I'm probably going to bring you guys back once the canvas tent is up and I got some of my stuff moved over here. Alright, so the canvas tent is up there. It has been quite a hard day. I got about an hour and a half left of sunlight. See, that's the part of the road we couldn't get through, so I had to haul all the equipment a lot farther than I thought I was going to have to today. So I'm not quite done. Still got a lot of stuff going on here. Got the escape. Got the escape, still has a lot of stuff in it. But I'm trying to put up this private road sign so nobody comes and F's with my car. And I have a plastic chain to go at the end of the road for now until I can get a gate put up next week. So I'm gonna go hang this sign and then we'll hike up to where the canvas tent is set up. I still gotta make a bunch of tent poles for the canvas tent. Tent stakes for the canvas tent because it's really windy out here today. Obviously you cannot see anything. There's a snowshoe hare in there. He doesn't seem particularly scared of me. There he is, right there. See him? He's right there. This is day one up at the 100 acre plantation, and it looks like he's munching on baby pine trees. But he's starting to get his brown coat in. It's April 28th, and he's not very scared of me. He must know it's not hunting season. You can't hunt those until you can hunt those in during the winter when they're all snowy colored. Yeah, he's not scared of me at all. But it's been a rough day. Having this road not be passable when I showed up here definitely has made it a rough day. I got my car in a spot where it should be good. Hopefully nobody F's with it. And I'm gonna go grab the tripod and a folding chair and a couple other things I need, and then I'm gonna get settled in for the night. I got about an hour left of sunlight, and I'll get you on the tripod in front of the canvas tent and talk to you guys a little bit right before I go to bed here. It's been a rough day though, but a great first day. This property is huge. 100 acres is a lot of land. It's very overgrown though. Look at how thick this stuff is. That's why the bunnies are here, but that's going to bring a lot of the animals. The rough grouse that we hunt in October, there'll be a lot of them right here on the property. I've seen moose nuggets, little moose turds everywhere, fresh moose tracks from within the last 2 days. A lot of wildlife on this property. That's why I bought it. I knew it was going to be great. This bunny over here, I don't know if you can see him with me in the picture. He does not even care that I'm here. He knows it ain't hunting season, so he doesn't even care. But where I set up the canvas tent is a big pile of bear turd too right next to it. So hopefully I don't have to deal with that, but I got a 12 gauge with me, so should be all set. Well, I'm gonna get the tripod and I'll get you guys set up on another shot here. Well, snowshoe hare on day one. That's pretty cool. I got you guys on the tripod finally. I had to cut the ends off of these stakes I made for the canvas tent here. It's really windy. It's been windy the whole time ever since I showed up here today. It's been really windy. Down the road there's some windmills too for power generation. So it must be windy here a lot. I might have to carve a place out in some of the thicker trees to put the canvas tent later on in the week, depending on how windy it really is. Because if it's too windy, it'll drive you crazy in the canvas tent. I gotta just saw off the ends of this and make it flat, and then try to get the fly on the canvas tent. Man, it's been a lot of work today. I wasn't expecting the road to be so messed up. I thought I was going to be able to pull up in the truck or in the Escape right to where I was going to set up the tent. But there's no way. I got to do a lot of work on the road before I'm going to be able to just drive up here. Property is really nice though. Already seeing a lot of signs of wildlife, and I already saw that wild hare. And it's pretty nice. 100 acres. This thing is huge. Like, this little spot that I'm on right here is like 15-20 acres of highland, but I own another 80 acres that goes down to the brook over there, which I'll show you over the next couple days. But it's really thick stuff. This property is really wild. I mean, it's thick, and there's giant piles of moose crap everywhere. There are fresh moose tracks right out by where I have the car parked from like today or yesterday. Super fresh. Some bear scat over here. I'm pretty excited, but I'm pretty much done for the day here. I need to just get these last couple of stakes in and get the canvas tent all buckled down, and then get the sleeping bags pulled out. It's too windy to have a fire out here, and I also have to find some dead wood. A lot of the trees around this camping spot are all just fresh saplings. It's nothing you want to burn. So tomorrow the mission is to build a fire pit in a place where the wind's not going to affect it too much. Maybe over here I have a really thick pine thicket is what we call it here, and I might be able to clear a space out in there that's a little bit more. is all foggy. Well, first night completed. I definitely heard a moose out there. A moose, I think, came up to the tent at one point and was stomping its feet because it was probably angry, wondering what the hell this big canvas tent was doing in the middle of its trail now. That last video I did last night by the canvas tent when I was staking up the fly, I ended up running out of memory on the device, so had to transfer that stuff to the laptop, and then I went to bed because I was just done. Yesterday was a lot of hard work getting set up, but today I got to get some wood together and get this wood stove burnt out because it was freezing cold last night and it's not fun hanging out in the freezing cold. So I got to get this stove burnt out and get the new stove all set up. It's much heavier duty than the stove we had out in Brownfield at the survival property. Man, this property is wild. There's just so many animals out here and it's just so thick. But I'm going to grab the machete and cut a trail down to the river or down to the brook at some point and go explore the property and go and look for dry, dead, standing wood. Day 2 at the 100 Acres Plantation. Excited. I got to get up and get some food going. Alright, up and about. Still pretty windy today. Definitely cold still. About 40 degrees, which isn't freezing cold, but it's cold. So I'm going to make my first journey around the property right now. Sun's at my back, so you can't even see me. But I'm going to make my first trip around the property, kind of check everything out. And I'm going to take my deer drag sled that I got on Amazon. It's definitely not as nice as the big black sled that we usually use, the floating sled. But when I was in Brownfield, I couldn't find the floating sled. I think someone might have stolen it, and this is just something that I could get really quick. So I had something to drag stuff around in. Anyways, I'm going to take that sled, I'm going to go looking through the woods, and I'm going to look for dry, downed wood that's already on the ground, that I'm not going to have to cut, and that is dry enough to burn, so we can start burning that stove out. I need to burn that stove out for a couple hours today and get all the chemicals burned off of the stove so I can put it in the tent with me tonight, because it's really cold, freaking cold. It got down to 28 degrees last night. With my sleeping bags, it's not that bad, but it's so cold you can't really get out and do anything, and it makes you lag in the morning. You know, if you can start a fire at 6 in the morning, you'll get right up and, you know, make some breakfast and stuff, and then get out in the woods and get to doing what you need to do. So I'm gonna drag the sled out into the woods and go and check out the property, and hopefully I find a load of dry wood. Old rusty piece of a car here. It's an old one, maybe 50s or something. But this is where the woods, this is where it drops off. The land, the highland drops off into the lowland. And there's some thick pine woods here. But I'm gonna climb down in there and see what this water is down here, because I'm pretty sure it's groundwater that comes out of the hill here. See that right there? There's a sign on the tree. I can't read it because the water's too deep for me to go in with the boots I have on right now. I'm gonna have to go put some high top boots on, some water boots, and see. But that's someone's bear baiting set. Not sure why it's on this property, but nobody's been living here for the last, I don't know, at least 10 years, I'd say. So someone's probably just been hunting it. But you are supposed to have permission to put a bear bait on someone's property. So I'm probably gonna have to remove that and put it up on the road, so when they come back they can just take it. But in the next couple days we'll put high boots on and go and read the sign, see what the sign says over there. Man, these woods are deep, but I don't think this water stays this deep all year. It's the end of April, so this is all just flood water right now. But that's interesting. I knew there's a lot of bear in the area. The guy who butchers down the street, on his Facebook, it's pretty much all bears that he's butchering. Man, it's a lot of land. 100 acres, pretty crazy. I'm gonna keep trucking though, looking for firewood. Alright, I'm set up out here away from the canvas tent a little bit, just so no sparks or anything land on it. Got this new stove out. It's way heavier duty than the other one, and I bought it on Amazon. It was like 200 bucks. Gotta put these 4 legs on, and then I'm gonna put 2 pieces of the stack on, and we're gonna do a burnout and get all the chemicals off this thing. You gotta let it burn for like 2 hours. It's still pretty windy out here, so I gotta keep an eye on everything. So I'll bring you back once I have it all put together. Alright. So I got this thing loaded with pine, and I moved it to a different spot where there isn't as much grass to burn or anything that can light on fire. Plus, it's blocked all the way around, so there's not as much wind blowing here. So I filled it full of pine twigs, really thin twigs, and then put bigger pine, and, you know, burning sticks. It came with the flue, which I haven't put on, but I'm gonna put it on here and try it. But I think I'm gonna get it lit up first and see how it goes without it, and then get this on. I bought some tape for the chimney pipe, you know, so it won't leak. But I can't remember where that is. I gotta go look through my stuff and find it. I'm pretty sure it made it into the equipment. I hope so, because I have. It also came with this spark arrestor, which is like a pocket, but I didn't think that thing was gonna work really well. So I ordered this thing, made in America. I think it was made in Minnesota, but I ordered this thing, which adds 25 bucks to the stove. So 225 bucks I have into the stove. But I need to find that tape, because otherwise it's gonna leak smoke into the canvas tent when it's running. You don't want that. Alright, she's going. Ooh, ah. So now I'm gonna keep putting wood in that, and I'm gonna let it burn for about 2.5 hours and try to, like I was saying, burn for at least 2.5 hours. Got cut off there. Yeah, the stove, it's much heavier duty. I have a bunch of sand here, so I guess I'm gonna line the bottom with sand. A lot of subscribers recommended that with my old stove, which I never did, and the thing melted out. It was pretty much burnt through. I probably had one more season left in the old stove. This thing looks like it's gonna be more heavy duty, and it has a flat top, which I really wanted a flat top for cooking and boiling water and whatnot. So yeah, you can see on the pipe there, discoloration. That's probably preservatives or something they have on the pipe that's burning off. So that's all the stuff. You want to burn off it. That's all the chemicals that might be on this thing before you try to use it inside of a canvas tent, or you die of some weird chemicals probably. Alright, well, I'm going to let this burn. I'll bring you guys back if anything interesting happens, but day 2 is going pretty well. pretty nice out here. The sun's not shining, but it's not raining. So it usually is raining at this time of year in Maine. You expect a lot of rain. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see all that crap smoking off of it now. The whole thing, the whole barrel is smoking. Well, we're about 20 minutes into it, so we'll let it keep burning for a while. Oh, so this is the box that this stove came in. It's called the Camp Chef Alpine Stove. Pretty much burnt out up there. I am having a hard time finding dry wood though on this property. I have to cut some trees and dry it out for this winter. Might have to buy some wood for the summer. The other property had tons of wood. Some kind of weird mushroom. Kind of looks like a morel, but not really. I don't know. I guess I could cut it open and see what it looks like on the inside, but I don't know. I wouldn't eat this thing. It's pretty sweet looking though. Yeah, it's cool. Alright, there we go. It's 4 o'clock on day 2. It's pretty late in the afternoon, but I finally set up one of the solar panels. This is the 15-watt Anchor that I bought 3 or 4 years ago now. And I have my Anchor battery pack hooked up to it. It says it's charging. So we'll see if we can get a full charge on that in the next 2 hours of sunlight we have. Probably not though. But I still have a much bigger solar system that I haven't even, well, I tried it out in California, but I haven't tried it out here at the property yet. But solar is going to be the only power we have out here. So I want to see how well this panel's still working now that it's almost 4 years old. Haven't used it much, so it should be working good. We'll see. And then in the next couple days we'll pull out the big solar panel and the big battery pack and charge that all up, and then we can edit videos on the internet and stuff. I mean, edit videos on the laptop. But speaking of internet, we don't have any internet up here. There's no internet at all. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to film, you know, a month at a time, and then when I go back down to the city, which I'm not planning on doing for another 30 days at least, then I'll have to upload the videos to YouTube. Maybe I can go to a coffee shop in Lincoln. Lincoln is about 35-40 minutes away from here. It's a Walmart there and everything. Man, the wind is still cranking out here. You can probably hear it, and you can see the camera shaking. Alright, there we go. Got the solar charger going. Canvas tent live in action out in the middle of the woods in Maine. Super pumped. Things are going along. Keep on keeping on. Gotta love it. Ooh, home sweet home. I also have this little solar powered lamp, which it's not very powerful, but at night it does light up this whole space. I mean, well enough you can see your way around. And it has a little switch there. It also came with a remote. This is from Amazon. It was $37. But you run the wire out here, and there's the panel. Although it was supposed to come with a clip for the back, but it just came with a unit to screw it onto something. But this is for the cabin, so when the cabin comes, I'll screw it onto the side of the cabin, but I gotta just dangle it out here on the tent. But I just let that sit in the sun all day, and then apparently that light is going to work all night, so we'll see. Tonight I'm gonna test it out real good. I ran it for a little while last night, but I pretty much just relied on my headlamp, so we'll see if it works. Another one of those Amazon things you just impulsively buy, but I think I'll end up liking that one. You know, you just don't have to do anything. It just charges itself. The battery is on board. You just flip on the switch, so that's pretty cool. For off-grid living, it's pretty sweet. Now that's a moose track. Not the biggest moose in the world, but it's pretty big. This is a little trail on the property. It looks like the moose has been beating it down, so this is the trail that we'll be cutting. Pile of moose nuggets over there too. But that's a good track though. Man, that thing is perfect. That mud was nice and wet when he stepped there. Alright, well, I was hoping for more maples, but I have whatever these trees are. They kind of look like birch, but they don't have peeling bark. I'm not sure what they are. They might be an aspen or something. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't really know what it is, but they're pretty annoying. I'm gonna have to cut a lot of these trees out. You know, after they did the cut 15 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, this is what came up, and this is just the worst. When all the trees are at this height, it's the worst. So I'm gonna have to go through here and cut them down. They're too big for a bush hog, but they're not big enough that you can walk through the woods, you know? So I'm gonna have to come through here and just slowly cut them down, probably by hand with I use my parang. My condor parang is the best for cutting trees this thickness down. You just hit them twice and it's down. So I'm gonna go through here and clear a nice trail. Alright, just going on a walk before I call it a night. The sun's going down in the background. So trying to just get a lay of the land and really figure out what this land is all about that I got here. It's pretty nice. I mean, look at those pine trees. Man, spruce trees, I think. Yeah, that's a spruce. I got spruce, I got balsam, I got white pine, just all kinds of great trees. But I'm still looking for some maples. I know that there's some maples on this property. There's definitely some along the road, but I was hoping that I'd find a section of maples. Oh, there goes a squirrel. Little red squirrel. I was hoping to find a section of maples that are close to each other so I can do maple syrup next year. I've never done maple syrup. I see Sean James busting it out. I see the Wooded Beardsman busting it out. Looks good, so I got to get on the syrup this year for sure. Oh man, those are moose nuggets. Those aren't really big either. I've seen much bigger ones out here already, but that is what we call a moose nugget here in Maine. Alright, well, I'll probably hit you guys up right when I'm going to bed, but it's been a productive and a pretty relaxing and all around glorious day here, second day at the 100 Acres Plantation. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, so real quick, these are maples right here. They're just all maple saplings, but if I cut all of these other trees out and leave just the maples, then this highland will mostly be maples. I see a couple clusters of them, so I just got to cut out some of this stuff and thin it out and manage this area, and these maples will blow up and they'll take over this area. All we want is maples and pine trees. Those are the only trees that we want on this property, really. You know, all the other trees are pretty much useless. Poplar, which I haven't seen any of, poplar is pretty good firewood, so we would keep those. And if we had any oaks, we would keep those, because that's kind of a food plant and great firewood. But almost back to camp. I can see she's right there through the woods, so I can go get something to eat probably. Well, there goes the sunset right there. Day 2. Getting ready to hop in the canvas tent. Still don't have the stove in it, so it's gonna be another cold night, but I want to burn it off one more time tomorrow and make sure that stuff is really off there. I could still smell it when it went out earlier. Another long day. But man, this property is cool. Sunsets in the west. There are some good spots. There's some good spots for some gardening, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out how to build up the soil. I need to find some rotting wood and just a bunch of things to like build up a small raised garden. But it's really sandy here. For anybody wondering how bright that solar light is, I don't know. You can't really see it very well in here. Man, I'm getting under the blankets though. I still don't have that stove hooked up, so it's pretty cold in here. I don't know, can you see my face? Is there enough light coming from that thing? I don't know, it's enough light I can see in the canvas tent and everything, and it's free electricity, so I think that was definitely worth the money. The thing's awesome. See how long the battery lasts in it now. Alright, I'm gonna be shutting off the lights and stuff. I'll see you guys in the AM. Alright. Morning of day 3. Oh man. I figured the ground was gonna have frost on it, but guess it only felt that cold. Oh, morning of day 3, just getting up. Alpaca gloves on. I'm freezing this morning. I had to get that stove burnt out the rest of the way and go and find some real firewood. Whew. I was just thinking I need all these wood chips, and I was gonna buy a load of wood chips, but I need to just buy a wood chipper because I have all these small trees that I have to take down. So if I had a wood chipper, I could just make wood chips, and I have a lot of trees that have to come down that are small enough to chip in a small wood chipper. So I don't know, I'm gonna make some calls and see if there's anybody who will deliver me a wood chipper. Probably gonna be pretty expensive though, so I don't want to spend too much, but a load of wood chips is gonna be like $300 to $400 anyway, so if I can get a wood chipper for that, then that's a better deal. I'm gonna try to get cleaned up, and then I'll take you guys out to go check on the car and enjoy this beautiful morning. Spot right here though. This is where the wetlands has like a little canal that comes up to my property. This is where the moose has been coming, and down there all that is beaver chew. So this is where the wildlife comes. This is where they hang out, and if you follow this you get to the brook, and then the brook goes to the wildlife management area. I cut that tree back so the trail would be clear because it looks like it just fell. That's a spruce tree. Oh man, it's a beautiful spot right here. And the sun is shining right behind me there. So it's warming up my black jacket. It's freezing out here. There's actually, all the puddles are frozen over right now. So it did drop below freezing last night. Had a feeling it did. I was pretty cold this morning when I woke up. I'm really dehydrated too. I'm not getting enough water into me, but I always have a hard time getting enough water into me when it's really cold and the water's really cold. So I gotta get that stove fired up and get some tea going or something. Get some hot water going, then I can put a little more into me and it'll warm me up a little. Only a week or two left of this, and then the temperatures will change and the massive hordes of mosquitoes will come. That's the one thing about this property. There's definitely going to be a lot of mosquitoes this summer, and black flies for a couple weeks. Oh man, my face, I can hardly talk. My face is like frozen. But man, the sun on my back is just warming me up. I feel like a lizard out in California warming up in the morning. I'm going to continue my little hike. Those are cedars right there. I've never had any cedars on any of my properties I've ever owned. I'm finally far enough north that I got some cedar trees. Super psyched about that. You can do a lot of stuff with those cedar trees. A lot of building, a lot of fire starting, and they're pretty good for burning in the stove, you know, better than white pine. You know, the rest of the stuff is spruce and white pine, which isn't the best for burning. I see guys in Canada burning spruce though, so maybe I can burn that. We usually don't burn that down here because we have so many hardwoods. You know, all those trees right there, those are all the maple trees. So I knew there was a maple grove somewhere. It's just it's really wet in the spring, which the spring is when the maple flows. So I'm gonna have to get some waders or something so I can go put buckets on those trees next spring. Didn't get here on time this year to do maple syrup. It's been running. It probably ran today because it froze last night, but we're on the last couple of days of that. Alright, I'm gonna keep my walk going. I'll see you guys later in the morning. It's about 7:30 in the morning on day 3. Not sure what lives in there. That's a pretty big hole. Doesn't look very active around it, so it might be someone's spring home or a summer home. But man, still just walking through thick woods. I'm getting to the other edge of the property now. I'm trying to go around the water and see if I can make it all the way to the brook without having to cross any water. That's a big hole though. Wonder what lives in there. Not big enough for a bear by any chance, but it's a pretty big hole. Looks like it tunnels down and turns. So, I don't know. But as you can see, this is like this kind of an open space. It looks like these are all ferns that grow here. So, we'll see what kind of ferns they are. Might be a lot of fiddleheads right here in another couple weeks. Keep on trucking through the woods, see what we can find. Well, I found the firewood. These are the trees. There are mostly maples, some poplars, and a couple oak trees in here. A couple dead standing cedars. It's gonna be a haul getting it out of here once I start cutting, but I can see there's already a lot of downed trees over there. It's a big tree. That's gonna be dry. It's be good firewood. Bunch of good firewood down here, so I was worried that I wasn't gonna find any good firewood. I might have to buy it. But yeah, I definitely see enough firewood in here that once I get it processed and get it moved out, probably have to get a snowmobile this winter, and then I can cut and then haul it out on a snowmobile. Man, this is a nice piece of wood right here. This is where the deer are gonna be. Sit down here and fall. I'll get my deer down here, I'm sure. This little maple grove. It's mostly maples down here. Just got back from my morning walk, which was epic, and I'm gonna fire up this stove and burn it off one more time. But look, I don't know if that was from this morning or last night, but that is a canine track on the stove. So he stepped in this sand and then got up on the stove. Oh no, I left my pan here, so maybe he could smell a little bit of the Spam I cooked on it yesterday and tried licking it off or something. I don't know, it's either a dog or a coyote, but there was a coyote turd right over here. Yeah, so I have to keep an eye out for it. Could be a wolf too, I guess. I haven't seen any wolves. I don't think there are wolves. Could be a neighbor's dog too, I don't know. I'll have to go tell the neighbors that I'm over here. That's crazy. Canine track on the wood stove. I can hear something in the woods over here too. I wonder if it's a dog. Might be a dog. Might be a neighbor's dog or something. I don't know. If I see it, I'll let you know. Alright. First meal of the day. Day 3. I've basically just been snacking and eating one meal a day. But today, we've got one of my camp favorites. Corned beef hash in a can. And something that's not so great, but I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, I used to eat them. These Vienna sausages and barbecue sauce. Looks like a recipe for some major heartburn, but it'll keep me going, and I got a lot of work to do today. I got to clear a spot for the cabin that's closer to the road, so I at least have a spot that I know they can definitely deliver it to. It's not where I want it to be delivered to, but I have a feeling that the road's going to be too rough for them to deliver it where I want it to go. So we got some water in the frying pan. We'll let that boil up so we can clean that pan out real good, just in case some dog or something did lick on it. You know, I don't know what that track was from, but if something licked on it and it had rabies, you can get rabies really easily. So I'm gonna boil that whole pan off and get it really hot, and then wipe it down with a clean paper towel, and then fry up some hash brown or some corned beef hash. This little stove's burning off nice, got it fired up. That spark arrestor is working great, definitely worth the 25 bucks. Nice little stove, a lot nicer than the other stove I had. I'm excited. It's gonna be nice getting it into the cabin and all set up in a permanent spot. Well, not a permanent spot. This will go in the cabin until I get a cast iron in the cabin, and then this will come back out into the canvas tent this fall. Alright, well, get something to eat here. No refrigeration either, so that's one of the reasons why I'm eating all this canned food. I have no refrigeration, there's no place to get ice around here, so I just decided to not even try to deal with the cooler. And I brought the cooler up here, but I didn't bring any food or anything in it because the ice situation's just too rough. It's actually cold enough here at night that I probably could have kept some stuff good throughout the day as long as I kept the cooler in the shade, but I didn't even want to deal with it. I just bought a bunch of canned meat, rice, pasta, stuff that doesn't need refrigeration. Not very healthy this next month, but you know, after this next month we'll get the cabin delivered, and then I'm gonna try to find a gas-powered freezer so I can at least have frozen food on hand, you know, meat and stuff. We'll see how that goes. I need to get a freezer, a gas-powered freezer by fall, because once I shoot a deer or any other game, I want to be able to freeze it, you know. So, but we'll figure that out when the cabin gets here. Right now we just got to clear a spot for the cabin and get the property all ready to receive the cabin. All right, see you guys later. Get some cooking going. Yeah. Get one of these tortillas out. It's oh man, I didn't bring the tripod over here. Hold on. I couldn't open the tortillas with one hand. All right, got a tortilla. Look at that, nice and crispy. That's how I like it, crispy. I don't know, I like all my meat kind of crispy. Everybody says I overcook everything, but that's how I like it. So I've probably had better meals. Definitely not the Ritz or anything like that, but this is gonna be good. This is gonna be damn good. Oh yeah, wrap that thing up. Be all dandy. Booyah! Oh man, can you even see in there? Now that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. Yeah boy. That's the good stuff right there. So I'm gonna eat this corned beef hash taco, and then we'll go over to the driveway and I'll show you the area I need to clear out for the cabin. This stuff is real good. It's so much better when it's crispy. Some people serve this stuff kind of soft and mushy. At least one side has to be cooked until it's crispy, for sure. For corned beef hash in a can to be good, that's how it has to be cooked. I'll see you guys when we get to working. Well, I can still smell a little bit of the chemical smell, so I'm gonna wrap up that last bit of corned beef hash there, and then put this last bit of wood in there. Let it burn off a little bit longer, and hopefully tonight we can move that into the canvas tent. Man, she's a beauty. The canvas tent just fits in so well out here. The woods out here is just so much wilder than the survival property in southern Maine we have. It's pretty sweet. I wonder where this canine print came from though. It's got to be a coyote. You know, I saw coyote turds. There's a coyote turd right over there. It's one of those white chalky turds. Got a lot of hair in it. So it's got to be a coyote looking for food. All right, we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll make sure that there's no food left out for him to get into. So this is the part of the driveway that's not passable, but This puddle right here was full of water when we got here, so the water is drying up already after only 3 days. But I'm gonna spend the next hour just clearing up everything on the edges of the driveway. Whoa, shaky camera. And then right there where the car is, to this side, I'm gonna clear a whole area that's big enough for the cabin. I'll bring you over there so you can see it. So basically, it's this whole area right here. It's pretty thick right now, but in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I should be able to clear a spot that's big enough for the cabin there. And then if they can't get it up the road this summer, I can at least get it dropped off down here and be able to stay in it down here. We'll see. We'll see how the whole thing goes. I don't think that they'll be able to deliver it though, with how soft the road is right there. Unless I can get the wood chipper. If I get the wood chipper and I chip all these small trees and then fill this in with wood chips, it might be fine. So I don't know. I'm gonna cut this area out though, down here, just to make sure there's a spot for the cabin when they want to deliver it. All right, now look at that. Big pile of sticks. There's the car. Man, now that's a big open space right there. That should be enough room for the camp. I have to come through with a chainsaw and cut out all these stumps. Man, just did all that in about an hour and a half. 2 hours with this Condor Tools Village Parang. I love this thing. I would say you could get dropped off anywhere in the world, and if this was the only tool you had, you could get a lot done. It's not good with dry wood, obviously. This is really only for wet stuff, but man, you can collect a lot of building material. You can clear a lot of land. I mean, that's a lot of stuff cleared in no time. It's definitely one of my favorite tools I ever bought, and I own a bunch of stuff from Condor. Oh man. That's what freedom looks like right here. The sun's going down in the background, but you can't see it because the clouds have moved in. Typical of spring in Maine. Well, I'm gonna move the stove in, but I still haven't really smoked it off as much as I wanted it to be. So I'm probably not gonna burn it tonight. Suffer through some more cold. We're probably in our last couple days of cold, so I'm trying not to worry about the fireplace too much. I want to get that thing really situated and all the chemicals burned off it before I go and stick it in the tent. Man, I've already seen a lot of animals. So far I've seen 2 hawks, I've seen a pleated woodpecker. I saw a couple of turkeys run across the street earlier, or across the road, and that hare, I've seen that hare 3 times. He must know that he's not allowed to be hunted right now because he doesn't even care. I can walk almost right up to him, so he's not bothered by me at all, which is cool. Gonna have to keep that guy around, call him Little Thumper. So I'm gonna just go for my last walk before it gets too dark. And there's this one section that opens up where the beavers are is really interesting. I can tell that the moose is coming through there a lot. Like, that's his trail. So I'm going down there a lot and looking at things because the beavers are going crazy down there. I need to put on my high top boots and get out into the water and go and see where they're building whatever they're building, because I can see like some of stuff built, but I haven't been able to get in there and really see them. Alright, well, I'm going to take this walk and maybe I'll bring you guys back if I see anything cool or interesting, but then I'll come back and be in for the night. Alright, that's a male buck. That's fresh. That's from today, or even more recent. No, maybe not. It's from the last couple days, definitely, though. That's a big buck track. That's what that is right there. Huge buck. He's already loving this trail that I cleaned out. This was already the moose trail, but I came in and cleaned it all out. But this is where all the action's happening. Down there. Yeah, down there there's like a whole beaver thing going on. Alright, I'm gonna chill here for a little while. I'll see you guys later. It's dark in here. Yeah, it's dark in here. That little light, I don't think that helps. Put the stove in the canvas tent, so I got it all set up. I got to cut little wood pegs to put under the feet at different heights so it's completely level. But it's all up. It's got tube going on it. Chimney action. And there we go with the top on it. But that oh, something just went through the woods real fast. Kind of sounded like turkey. Scared the shit out of me for a second. Excuse my language. Yeah, that thing is kind of like in there. The spark arrestor is kind of in there. It says it was made for 5 inches, but the stovepipe actually gets a little bit wider as it goes up to the last chimney pieces. You know, it would have probably fit on this one a little bit better, but I think it'll still work. Hopefully, we'll see. But it's a much longer chimney than what I had on the other stove, and a lot of viewers mentioned that that was one of my main problems and why I was getting burn marks in the canvas tent here and there. All set up. Oh, almost tripped over that bucket, but yeah, the thing looks cool when it has a chimney like that coming out of it, especially when there's smoke. I don't know if I should burn it tonight. I guess I'll be eating cold food if I don't. But I don't know. I should probably wait until tomorrow and open all the windows and doors and then burn it again to get more chemicals off. But if it gets cold enough here, maybe I'll break this big long stick here down and light it up. Alright, well, probably last video for the night. It's getting dark and there's things in the woods I gotta go check out. See you guys later. End of day 3. Oh, cut myself a little bit with a saw blade. Gotta go wash this off with some peroxide. I was putting the blade on. I was putting a new dry blade on that backhoe saw right there. I love that saw. Focus, focus. I love that saw. But I had a wet blade on it, so I had to put a dry one on it. And I dropped the blade. It like slipped off of the peg. And I tried catching it like an idiot. Should have just let it fall to the ground. Whoa. Focus. There we go. Yeah, it looks gross. Anyways, I cleaned it up. Whew. Of course, the smoke's going right your way. Well, I decided to have a little fire, and I'm going to use these green sticks here as like a grill top to hold my pot so I can cook some pasta. I guess I'll let this burn down just a little bit more and then I'll put the pot on there. Hopefully we can get a little bit of pasta action. Alright, well, there we go. Now we're cooking with fire. Get some pasta and then I'm gonna call it a night. Been a long day, a lot of work done. Pretty cool property. I'm glad I found the wood lot today though, because I definitely was getting scared I didn't have enough hardwood on the property to make firewood. Definitely do, and there's like hundreds if not thousands of maple trees, so we're gonna do lots of maple syrup and be able to make firewood. Well, I'm gonna let this go to a boil and then eat that stuff up real quick, and then call it a night. I probably won't see you guys again until tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Oh man, not as cold as yesterday, but still cold. Morning of day 4, and it's been raining, but it doesn't look that bad out here, and the skies are clearing up. I gotta pick up a couple things. Left a couple boxes out here that got all wet. Looks like something moved that sign last night from there to there. I'm not sure what that's all about. There were a lot of hares out. I went for a walk last night after dark, and there were like dozens of snowshoe hares out here running around the property. One ran right up to me and scared the crap out of me. He didn't even see me until he was right next to me. I didn't even see him until he was right next to me. But anyways, oh, he's over there in the bush right now. See him scratching he's right here, scratching his little ear. They must have fleas real bad. They must have fleas, I guess, because they're scratching and itching all the time. But there's tons of them out here. I've never even eaten a rabbit before. So I might have to get on that this fall. In February, I think you can hunt them. Or maybe from fall to winter, you can hunt them. But I got my mud boots on, so I don't get my leather boots all wet. And I'm thinking about taking a walk through the wetlands and checking out the beavers. I'm trying to figure out where these beavers are at. But yeah, it was pretty cold this morning, but not as cold as yesterday. And if it wasn't raining, it probably wouldn't have felt cold at all. But it's the wet weather that makes it cold, kind of goes right through you. But today I have to get the fly on the tent situated so it's not touching the wood stove, so it's not touching the chimney of the wood stove, so I can fire that thing up, because once I have that thing going, it'll feel much more like home in there. It's just way too cold in the morning. There's nothing worse than having to get up and get dressed when it's freezing cold. So I got to get that stove going today. But right now we're going to go for a walk and go and check out the beavers, because in this rainy weather they should be active right now. So I'm going to go check it out. Some beaver cheese sticks. A whole bunch of them. He's going up into that spruce thicket and getting twigs and stuff and chewing all the bark off of it. So you'll make a pretty good walking stick though. That way I don't fall over face first in the mud over here. I'm gonna try to get through some of that. Use this beaver stick. Straightening out the fly so the chimney isn't anywhere near it. I'm trying to line up the chimney hole. That way I don't burn this fly up at all. But just for people who are getting into canvas tenting, unless you find some really big stakes, the best thing to do is to just cut saplings down with some branches on it and carve stakes. That stake's already 6 inches in the ground. I'll drive it another 6 inches. At least 12-inch stakes, really thick wood ones, and it doesn't matter how windy it gets, that thing's not going anywhere. But if you just use like the yellow stakes like that, or like some sort of store-bought stakes for this thing, and a good wind comes up, this whole thing's gonna take off like a sail. So I carve up these big giant stakes and then stake it all out, and it's all staked out with all this webbing, so if animals come through, you know, a bear or a moose, they're likely to trip over the wires and wake you up pretty easily. So the sides are pretty well protected in that way, kind of early warning system. And then the front usually has the stove and all kinds of gear, so you know, any animal would have to go through all that. The back is the only area that's kind of not protected, and that's where you're sleeping. So today I'm gonna put some prickle bushes. They kind of look like acacia thorns. They're really big, long thorns on them. I'm gonna put a bunch of those in the back as like a little fence thing too, so that'll deter an animal from going through there and messing with me at night. A little paranoid, but there's definitely a lot of animal activity out here. Like, I don't know if we have wolves down here, but I've seen some really big canine prints, so I can't imagine what they are unless maybe a neighbor has like a shepherd or something. A lot of animals out here though. I'm gonna finish getting this staked out. So you just grab the stake, pull it on back, try to keep it curved away from the canvas tent. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then pound it in. And I'm just using an 8-pound splitting wedge with a sledge on the back. You can get this at pretty much any Home Depot, and you'll need one of these. You need something big like this to split big wood. You don't want to do that with your Grand Force or your bushcraft axe. You want something like this for splitting. Man, it's heavy though. 8 pounds, swinging 8 pounds. All right, so that's what we were trying to do. You know, we had to get the plastic so it was really far away from the pipe, because that'll melt. I have to roll that up a little bit better too, a little bit tighter. That's the flap, the canvas flap. That won't burn as easily, but it could burn too, so we'll roll that back a little bit more. But there we go, all centered. The fly is all centered and ready, and the stove is ready to be fired up. We'll wait another hour, but lunchtime we'll fire that thing up, cook something good to eat. All right, done working for the day. Got the sled in tow with the chainsaw. Went through and I went and stumped all those trees that we cleared out the other day. And man, I'm tired. It's only 4:30. I feel right out. I'm ready to get a fire going and get some food going. I'm starving. Just been eating like Slim Jims and beef jerky and junk food all day. This deer drag sled is pretty nice actually. It's not as nice as the sled I usually use, one of the big deep-sided floating sleds. But this one's pretty good, and it's super lightweight. It's easy to carry around with you. Definitely gonna work out pretty good during hunting season. Drag a deer out. If you get a deer in this thick of woods, you're gonna wish you had a sled to drag it out with. All right, I'll see you guys back at camp. On a walk right before sunset here, day 4. I set up this sand trap because I saw some prints here, but nothing's gone through here in the last 24 hours. There's another one right there, and there are some, it looks like squirrel or bunny tracks. And then something was digging there. I don't know what it was. Something with a claw though. I don't know what it was. Probably a coyote though. But I guess I'll brush that flat again and set it so I can see if I get any other tracks in there. Man, I'm just looking into this forest and realizing how much resources I actually have. But if you see that tree right there that's broken, that's a maple. So the half that's broken will be some dry, hard wood, which we need for the fire. And there's a tree right here you might not be able to see that's kind of bent over, and it doesn't have any buds on it, and that looks like it's a dead maple. So this is right by camp, so this is pretty cool. I'm gonna have to process those down tomorrow get some real firewood into camp. Well, just about sunset. It's going down over there. Man, the woods are thick out here, that's for sure. It's crazy how many bunnies were out last night. Actually, not bunnies, hares. Dinner on day 4. It's just pasta, olive oil, and sprinkled cheese. I was putting the sprinkled cheese on it and I kept on losing sprinkled cheese all over the place, which is a valuable commodity out here. And I was like, oh, right, it has a pour side. Most people will think that that's for cooking use, but it's really for just people who like a lot. Maybe you don't lose so much just shaking it all over the dang place. Not too exciting. Cooked over a fire though. The fire's hurting pretty bad. I was hoping it was going to come back after eating the meal. We'll see what happens. Well, end of day 4. About to put out the fire. Listening to all the birds do their calls at night. There's a lot of them. Oh man, that light. Man, you can still hardly see anything on the camera, but you have no idea how nice it is to have a light that you just flip a switch and it comes on and it's free. No maintenance, charges itself. Works pretty good. I can see in here at least. Alright, night. See you tomorrow. Alright, it's morning of day 5 and I'm already out and about. I hear something in the bush up there, but I'm in the woods and I'm on the north edge of my property, and I'm trying to see if the wildlife management area has a fence. You know, I was kind of hoping that it would have like a 1 or 2 strain fence, which, you know, sometimes they put T-post up and put some sort of fencing up saying that it's a management area, or they at least put signs up, little yellow signs that says management area. So I'm trying to find that. If I can find that, then I can probably find the corner of my property, the far corner that's way out in the woods, but it's thick. Some crazy fungus growing on this thing. But it's thick in here. So I'm just trying to keep a bearing. Alright, I didn't find the corner of my property, but I found this dead tree close to camp, so I'm trying to cut it out. It's still connected there, but I cut it there and I've been pulling it down out of the trees a section at a time. But the rest of it looks pretty well stuck, so I gotta just cut that right there and get that free and take that chunk. Alright, I'm down here to get water right now, but that track's fresh. I was down here this morning and it wasn't there. So this deer is somewhere right in here. I'm down here to fill up the bucket with water. This is the closest water to camp. You know, I figured I had plenty of water because the brook was here, but on 100 acres, the brook is on the other side of the acreage. So that's a long way to travel with water. I'm gonna have to get a water tank that I can fill up with a truck or something and bring it back to camp once a week. Or dig a well. You wouldn't have to dig very far to get a well out here. But your taxes go up when you put a well on the property. So I'm trying to stay away from all that. I would imagine that that's where the beaver's living. There's a hole right there. It goes under this dead tree. Got a little stack of wood he's been eating. But that's probably just his winter home. He's probably moved to deeper water. So all the water is leaving this area now. Maybe he stays there all year round. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure if there's a difference between a woodchuck and a beaver. When I look at the hunting manual, it doesn't mention anything about beavers, but it says you can hunt woodchuck all year round. So I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. That right there is a human cut mark. It looks like they only cut into the tree like 4 inches. I wonder why that is. I guess maybe they took that tree or something at some point because it was dying. I don't know. Crazy spot, and it's a maple too. I don't know why they would have taken that. Well, this is the closest water source to the property. It's not too far away from the trail we go to every day. It's not moving though. If it is, it's moving really slow, but I don't think it's moving at all. And there are like tons of piles of moose shit in it. So, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to just take water from here and boil it before we use it for anything. This is a nice area though. This is all the hardwood. It's all maple. Be able to do some major maple syrup out here. It's like billions of maple trees. Sweet. But if you follow this waterway, it opens up even more down the way, and that's where the ducks are hiding. So I gotta build a duck blind down there this summer. And I'm gonna collect some of this water and get it back to camp. So this is my favorite sit spot. Gonna have to make a blind right here and a blind right here on the other side. There's actually this trees here, so I can just like use that as a blind for this year. Gotta put something to sit on here. But this little meadow here is pretty awesome. I wonder how high the grass gets, but it's bramble right there, so it's gonna be some kind of berry coming up on there hopefully. And it just has everything. It has all the different trees. It has some cedar, it has some white pine, it has birch trees, it has maple trees coming up. It has just a whole variety of everything. It's a really nice little meadow area, and this land is higher. It drops down right here, so you have an advantage up here, you know, looking at the animals. And if you're in good hiding, I'm sure animals go past here all the time. I mean, that's where we saw the deer track right down there yesterday. Oh, that was earlier this morning. It's really nice, and as I can see it, it seems like if the land's a little wetter, so it looks like the maples take off real quick here. But up on my property, it looks like the birch trees come in first, and then the maple trees come in slowly after, and then eventually the birch trees die back and the maple trees take over. And then slowly the pine trees that are like here and there scattered, growing slowly, will slowly take over everything and then take over the maples even. It's an interesting like evolution of the trees on this property you can see happening. The guy from Town Hall, which is just some older gentleman that does all the town hall stuff out of his house, he came down and talked to me and told me about the land and told me like he spent a lot of time out here when he was younger. He used to cut the lot right next to us, and he used to use my driveway to access that. But he was a cool old guy, and he told me a lot about the area and a lot about the land. So pretty cool. He said it was cut about 8 years ago is when they took all the old growth pine trees that were in here out. So, you know, that's why we have all the short maple and birches out here. Ooh, the winds are blowing. Yeah, I love this view. This is like one of my favorite parts of the property so far, because it's just like a perfect trail right here. It's like a moose trail that goes through here. You can just sit up here and see all the animals, and the beaver was doing a lot of stuff here, but now the water's gone back. The first couple days there was a lot of water here. Now the water's gone all the way back. It'll be interesting to see how dry this whole area gets, because it was hard getting through a lot of this property earlier this week. Alright, well, getting towards the end of night 5. Just checking out the scenery here. It's pretty crazy. Alright, here are the sand traps. Nothing in those two, but this one has something. I don't know if you can see that. They're pretty close together, but they're pretty big and they look like paw prints. It looks to me like a, well, I don't know, I guess there's a little claw there. So maybe it's just a coyote. But I was thinking it might have been a bobcat. But I guess I kind of see a claw there, which you wouldn't see a claw there on a bobcat. They only use their claws when they're digging. Or catching something, obviously. But, I don't know what that is. It might just be a small coyote or a fox. I'm not sure. Leave a comment if you know what that track is. For real. The end of day 5. You can hardly see, but these are blueberries. I've been using the praying. The praying is just the best thing for cutting trails out here for sure. There's some blueberries right there. I'm going around and I'm finding the blueberry patches and I'm cutting all the trees away from them so they're not getting shaded out. The guy who used to manage this land said that this whole top piece was covered in blueberries until the trees started coming in. So I'm going to try to establish a couple of the patches again. I gotta go eat something though. I think I'm done for the day. It's official. Night 5. Got the stove fired up inside the canvas tent. Got some corned beef hash going. Gonna put some rice on too. Oh, it must be burning hot. You can't even see any smoke coming out. That maple, burning hot. Yeah. Oh, so much easier cooking with this thing than cooking over the fire. That is the water reservoir, but you can't keep it on the stove unless it's full of water or it'll warp. Also can burn the seals out of the spigot. But soon that's going to be how we're washing up and doing laundry and washing our hands and doing dishes. Every time we fire this up, we'll just heat 3 gallons of water and be able to do everything we need to do with that. Ooh, man. These corned beef taco burritos are good. The rice is on the back cooking. Nice to have the stove. The tent really feels like home when you got the stove going finally. Feels so cozy and nice. You don't feel the elements out there at all. It's raining outside right now. Or we would be out there probably doing some stuff still. But it's starting to get late. I don't know, about 6 o'clock. Go to bed by like 8:39 these days. I'll bring you back if anything interesting happens. Alright, well, this is what the sink looks like. A little black catch bucket, and then this is the spigot on the water tank on the wood stove. Haven't had much of a chance to clean my hands or anything lately. I didn't have anything set up yet. Ooh, hot, hot. Nice clean hands. Next thing is a shave. Oh man, morning day 6. Slept pretty good last night. Let the fire go out slowly. It's pretty nice in here, even though it was raining. But 7 in the morning, it's time to get up. See how wet it is out there. Almost a full week out here now. I think a guy's gonna come around today and we're gonna talk about getting some gravel for the end of the road so I can make it so it's at least passable back and forth, and hopefully make it so the cabin can be delivered easy enough. I don't know. When all that goes down, I'll bring you guys back and let you know how it's going. I think the gentleman's name is Travis that's coming. So hopefully Travis shows up at a reasonable hour. Alright. I gotta get up. Breakfast of champions. Leftover rice and corned beef hash. Throw that in a tortilla. Haven't even opened the tent yet, but man, it's nice being able to warm this place up in the morning when you get dressed. Ran out of wood though. Last piece from the stack in the stove. Gotta go out and get some more firewood today. I'm gonna take a walk real quick down to the end of the road and check on the car. Oh yeah, it's day 6. Day 6 right now. Beautiful sight, that canvas tent. Portable home. Less than $1,000, can't beat that. Less than $1,200 with the stove and everything in there. I'd say it's about $1,250, $1,300 to get the stove, the cot, the water tank that's on the stove, and the tent with the fly. Plus about $50 or $60 for the conduit poles that we use for the inside. Less than $1,350 though. Definitely get all that. Pack it up in a box, put it in a storage unit when you're not using it, haul it wherever you need it. Super awesome. Better than a camper too. I mean, a camper is nice sometimes, but you gotta have a truck and everything to haul this around, you know? I got this out here in my little Escape. Can't beat it. Canvas life. Yeah, Canvas Life 2019. Uncle Dave, DC's Adventures. I don't even think I've said DC's Adventures this entire series yet. 100-acre plantation off the grid project. Coming up on 7 days here. 6 days today, tomorrow will be a full week. And then I guess I'll edit a video down and try to post it. I don't know, I'm gonna have to go to town to post it. Go check on the car right now. Look at that little guy. Hardly even scared of me. He's like, I'll just go back to eating. He's like, this guy ain't gonna hurt me. This winter we might get desperate enough to eat you. But I'm sure when it's hunting season, these animals know that it's hunting season. And they're probably more skittish. Whoa, whoa. What's that, you got fleas, buddy? This guy's definitely got fleas. He's always twitching and itching. Little thumper. Beautiful piece of land, lots of wildlife. Little guy's just eating grass, loving life. Silly little bunny. As long as I just look around like I'm a scared animal and not a hunter, this bunny seems to not care. Put my head down to the ground every once in a while so it thinks I'm eating grass with it. I'm pretty close to it. This is me. What scared you? What happened? Hear something? Bear coming? Oh, some geese just went over. Canadian geese. Man, this bunny is just chilling. I don't know if you can see that. that's a blueberry patch, but I'm also raking up all this grass and making some piles of hay. And I'm going to do that throughout the property and put piles of hay in a couple places and let them sit for a little while to break down. And then we're going to use that as mulch when we start the experimental gardening. It's really sandy here, so I'm probably not going to be able to get away with not buying some compost the first year. But we definitely have enough material on the property to make some compost. I just got to get some chickens, but I was thinking I could maybe gather up all the moose nuggets that I find. You know, that's a non-meat eating animal, so his turds should actually be pretty good for growing stuff. So at some point I might get some of those together too and start collecting a bucket of those, and then I can mix that in with the grass and let it break down together. Should be able to make some wild natural compost. This little guy right in the middle of the driveway, we're gonna spare him though. I've been cutting everything back, freeing everything up, so when it snows nothing will be on the road and doesn't scratch up everybody's vehicle while they're coming into the property. This little guy though, we're gonna dig him up and find a spot for him up by where the cabin's gonna be the first year. Make a living wall over there, a living fence. Block off some of the traffic sound on the road because we're gonna have to put the cabin closer to the road than we originally thought. Just working out here. Day 6 still. Got the trusty backhoe saw in my Grand Forest Brooks forest axe. A load of wood. A piece of wood from yesterday that was kind of wet. It's drying out now. Brought all that back in the sled, and there's another big logger over there, a maple tree that I took down. Kind of punky, but it looks like it'll burn pretty good, so I'm gonna go grab that and then cut all these into 18-inch pieces so they'll fit in the stove tonight, and then that'll be all for work for today. Get on to cooking some dinner and whatnot. Sorry, I need to bring my tripod out and start doing some B-reel shots and get some shots that aren't all first person, but man, it's a pain when you're working to carry that dang tripod everywhere. All right, the end of day 6, and I just took the infamous flower shower. Often talked about, never shown, but it's nice to feel clean after 6 days of not taking a shower. I definitely got to set up a fancy shower set up just like I had out in Brownfield. Whew. Finally clean though. Sun came out for a little while, figured it was a good time to take a shower. Used the hot water that we boiled this morning. It was still warm. It wasn't hot, but it was warm. And I want to make sure all the water I even bathe with has been boiled first, because the water sources here are pretty rough. They have a lot of beaver and moose scat in it. So you gotta make sure that you boil it pretty good. I'm gonna throw some clothes on and then work on getting this fire started for the night. These bunnies are everywhere, or rabbits, everywhere. Go hopping by. Dinner on night 6, leftover rice from yesterday, and spam, fried spam. That's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good one right there. Spam can be pretty handy. It's pretty horrible for you, but it's definitely, that's a good camp food too. Alright, well, the camera's acting crazy, so I'm putting this thing down for the night. See you guys in the morning. Oh man. Looks like it's gonna be a nice day out there. The sun is shining already, which is a good sign when it's shining real early in the morning. Probably means mosquitoes are gonna start coming around. I started seeing some last night, but it's Sunday, it's Cinco de Mayo, day for rest and relaxation. I'm gonna get up here in a minute and grab my fishing stuff and go down to the brook and see if there's any fish running yet. brook's probably still pretty cold, but the water level's gone down, so maybe the fish have made it back up the brook. We gotta see. Some people were fishing down there yesterday, but they didn't say if they had caught anything. So, get up and get going. See what's down at the brook. Alright, got my fishing pole and a bucket. Actually wearing my life jacket just because all my gear's in it. But when the water's fast, it's a good idea to probably wear a life jacket around it anyways. Gotta hike down the road to the brook. Trying to figure out where he went. I don't know if you can see him. He's in there somewhere. There's a male rough grouse. I mean, they call him partridge up here, but it's not a partridge, it's a rough grouse, aka a drummer. It's the drumming sound you hear in the woods every morning. It's those guys. I don't know where he went, but it's pretty sweet. I'm sitting on my driveway right now, so I was right across the street. Start hunting those in October, and those are good eating. That's chicken of the woods right there. There's the bridge. It's the corner of my property and the brook. It's a pretty big brook too. It's really wide. It's way too cold in here for brook trout right now, though. I don't think they've moved up from the river yet. I need like 2 weeks of warm weather before they're gonna move up into this brook, I think. I don't see any activity at all, but there's no bugs or anything out yet, you know? There's no reason for them to be up here until the bugs start coming out. So another couple days, the bugs will be out, and then the brook trout will start moving up from the river. They might as well just stay down at the river and just catch everything that's coming down the brook than traveling up it. But once there's a lot of mosquitoes and flies and caterpillar larvae and stuff falling into the water from the trees, then there'll be a reason for them to come up to the brook. But I filled my bucket with water, bring some pretty clean water back to camp. And yeah, maybe I'll try some other spots, but I don't know. I don't think there's any fish in here right now. I think I'd rather go hiking, and I'm gonna post part of my property, the part of the property around the camp. I'm gonna post that today. Day 7, full week out here now. It's pretty cool. I like it, but we're about a week away from having the black flies and mosquitoes come in, and we'll see how much I like it then. I'm gonna really be wishing I had the cabin here once that starts going down. The mosquitoes are gonna be really thick here for at least a couple weeks at the beginning of the summer here. They're gonna be really thick. I'm gonna wrap things up and walk up the road. Oh, just out with the hammer, posting. Oh, just out with a hammer and some nails, posting right around camp. Probably not going to post this whole property, but I'm going to post all the area around camp, which sucks to have to do, but you know, I don't want young people shooting through camp, especially when we're in a canvas tent. And if you don't have it posted properly, that's what likely will happen. Drunks too. A lot of drunks out here hunting, so I want them to stay at least away from camp, you know. But it's working our way to the woods. We're almost to the corner here, and then I'll turn and go around the other side. A lot of posting. Put up about 50 to 100 signs today. Oh, geez. Yeah, there we go. These sun chairs are real low to the ground. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Got you guys set up on the tripod finally. 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. I'm just sitting down for the first time. But the guy who's going to do some road work for me came, and it's pretty reasonable, the price at least, you know. I'm out here for most of the summer, and I'm not looking to be working most of the summer, so I'm trying to like really budget everything out. Maybe YouTube will help out. But he's gonna come in with a dozer, he's gonna flatten out the first section of the road, and he's gonna put gravel down, and he's gonna flatten out and put gravel down in the spot we're gonna put the cabin. So that's gonna help out a lot. That means I can pretty much guarantee that the cabin will be able to get delivered here. That's gonna happen probably sometime in the next 3 weeks, but we're gonna do the road work over the next week. So I gotta do some editing. It's been 7 days now out at the property. It's been great. The weather's starting to get nice. It's about 70 degrees right now. It's about to get really warm. It's about to get really buggy. But I guess tonight I'll work on editing all these videos down and get the first video out, which will be the first week out at the 100 acres. So thank you everybody for watching and staying tuned. If you're still watching at the end right now, you've held in for the whole video. Thanks, I appreciate that. Man, the sun in my eyes here. It's really nice out here. There's a lot of land, a lot of stuff to do out here, and a lot of wildlife. I'm super psyched. Sometime in next week's video, I'll sit down with you guys and we'll have a conversation on how much it costs and how someone like you could get started on a property like this without having to put very much money into it, at least up front. A lot of people out there are doing owner finance on property, and you just work really hard for one summer and you should be able to get enough money to put a down payment on a property like this up in Maine. We'll talk about that more in another video. I'm gonna spend the next couple hours getting some water, some more firewood together, cook some food, and then just relax for the rest of the day, because it's Sunday. I want to just relax, and then tomorrow we'll get back to working. So I guess this is it for this video. So everybody, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell down bottom so you get notified every time I put a new post up. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. That's very important. Comment too, though. Any questions that you have, leave them down below, and I'll try to get to you whenever I can. I don't have internet out here. My phone, every once in a while, will get some really low-grade 3G internet. But for the most part, the internet doesn't work out here, and I'm not sure how I'm going to upload these videos. The closest town is Lincoln, which is about 35 miles away, so I'm going to go down there and restock on water and see if there's any place that I can sit for a couple hours and upload a video. But I don't know. When I went through, I didn't see any coffee shops or anything like that. I mean, even Lincoln is pretty much out in the woods. So yeah, thanks for joining me on this video, and hopefully I'll start using the tripod more, because I know you guys all appreciate that. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Uncle Dave from DC's Adventures and the 100 Acres Plantation. See you guys later. See you on the next one. Oh yeah, there's no fish in the river today either. Just too cold, too cold.